Hello, my name is Anna, and you?
I am Jessica Jolio. It's nice to meet you, Anna.
Me too. And you are speaking today about storytelling, about branding. What kind? Sorry.
That's okay. We can.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are speaking today in the Digital Freedom Festival. About what you speaking?
So today I spoke about the new rules of brand storytelling. My passion is helping companies to tell their story, and I gave a talk all about how companies can find their story, tell their story better, and gave them a lot of inspiration for different types of ways to tell stories on channels like social media as well.
And what ideal storytelling for you? For example, ideal story of company.
Yeah, so my advice to companies is when they're building their storytelling strategy, they need to start with like their purpose or their why. So every company is in business for a reason. So the first types of stories that you should tell are about your purpose. Because customers now, like, especially like millennials, research shows that people want to do business with companies that have values that are similar to those. So by talking about your purpose, about your values, it actually makes your company a lot more appealing to your consumers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you speaking in different countries. From what countries you begin your speaking?
So I began my speaking career in the United States. I used to run the social media program for Dunkin' Donuts, which is in Russia actually. And I sadly never got to go to Russia to visit Dunkin' Donuts there, which was very upsetting to me. But I was running this program around the world, and I started getting invited by US conferences to speak about the program. And then from there I got invited to speak in the UK, in France, in Spain, in the Netherlands, Germany. So it's been a really exciting adventure. This is my first time in Latvia. Mm-hmm. So it's such an amazing experience in your life when something that you start to do, you actually get invited to speak at conferences, because then you meet people from around the world, you connect, you learn about different best practices in different parts of the world. And I love that. It brings so much joy to my life.
And storytelling in different countries, it's also different. Or, for example, in one story you can print in different countries, it's the same, or for example you can in different countries in each print different stories.
Sure.
What's more?
Yeah, doing any kind of global marketing, global social media, global social storytelling, it definitely it requires a lot of adaptation to the local market. So like, for example, when I was at Dunkin', when I was running this global program, I'm not an expert in every country, but I had people on my team around the world that might know what's going to resonate in Russia versus in Germany versus in Brazil, right? So then I can say, okay, well, here's the global vision, for the storytelling strategy. How do you feel about this? Will this resonate in your market? Are we using the right language? Really working with them to adapt that to be locally and culturally relevant is the best approach. It really makes sure that you don't make a big mistake and say something that will actually be a negative for your brand. So I really recommend this, and really having that collaboration as a team is so important.
You recommend work with a team in different countries and understand what will be the best option for this country.
Yes. And this is tough because some people might be watching this and say, well, I'm not a big global business. But you could work with freelancers as well, which is a great way to find someone who is a local expert, maybe a blogger or a journalist or someone who really knows about storytelling in that market. And you can leverage them to kind of say, okay, this will work, this won't work. How do you translate it? How do you adapt it? And I think, to me, you have to do this if you want to be effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you can recommend, for example, startups who don't have a big story, or they need to do storytelling in the first step, or it's...
So startups actually, in a way, they always live their purpose and their why, because they know why they were founded, right? They're solving a problem, they're creating an efficiency, They are disrupting a specific industry to make something better, which is amazing. So, but the challenge with startups is they're a small team, not much budget, nobody's heard of them, so no brand awareness, and they have to figure out how they can get that attention. So I recommend that using tactics like social media, using opportunities like when you're pitching to investors, that's when you share your why and evangelize your why. And using social media and like paid ads or influencers on social, depending on your industry, can be really strategic in terms of getting that story out. So if you're, whether you're a consumer product or a B2B product, you can find industry influencers to work with your company to then share that to their audience, so you can start to get that level of reach, and having others kind of tell your story for you can actually be quite powerful in that sense.
Do you recommend doing speech from investor also like a storytelling of projects?
Sure. So the feedback I've gotten from investors has been, they don't want a hugely long story, but starting with a really quick story, maybe it's 30 seconds or like under a minute, just on a bit of the purpose, the pain point. If there was a real life story, why the startup was founded, that can actually also be quite powerful for them to understand who you are, saying, you have this 30-second story, you go into your name, maybe the tagline, and then you go into the things that investors are really looking for, in terms of your numbers, your projections, what types of investment that you're looking for. So that's really been the approach that I've had when I've worked with investors.
And what's the best speeches, for example, for today or for in our forums you hear from storytelling of startups?
Ooh, what's at Digital Freedom Festival or
Or maybe in our festivals?
I don't know that I've had a lot of opportunities to be pitched by startups yet here, but I think in general, so I did a workshop and I did a talk, and people were saying to me, I think people always have some issues selling things within their companies. So even small businesses are I'm a startup and everyone's engineer, everyone's technical. They don't think we should tell stories. And then you actually start to say, but couldn't your salespeople actually use so because you don't have customers yet, could you actually make the use cases around your product and have people imagine a story, right? So if you're a technical product, show them, illustrate, you probably have this pain point when you're doing your job, right? You reach this part in the project, you have to do this really, you have to use 20 Excel spreadsheets and 5 tools, and how annoying is that? It takes hours out of your day, and but that's telling a story, right? You're having them imagine a day in their life at work, and you're implicating the pain and saying, you go through this. Wouldn't it be great if I could actually save you time and money with this great new tool that we're launching? Then the person's like, wow, I need that tool. Tell me, how does it work? But those are the kind of ways, because a big misconception with storytelling is it's only marketing and PR and social media, right? But actually, sales can use storytelling, human resources can use storytelling to hire candidates. People want to see the vision and the purpose and the mission of a company. When people want to go work for startups, they want to leave the corporate job, they want to do something that is more fulfilling for them. So by telling your story, you're going to have a better opportunity to attract the best talent as well.
And what you can recommend, how, for example, big company for ideal storytelling? What is company?
So for big companies, I think, of course, the tendency is to default to your products and services, and I do think there's value in telling stories around products and services, but I also encourage big companies to think more than that, looking at their customers. I think customer stories are really powerful for any size of company, but especially big companies, because it puts a human face on the brand as well. So sharing that, peeling back those layers of the onions, showing things that people might not expect from this big company. Maybe it's actually about a policy that they have where men get a couple months of paternity leave when their wife has a baby. Maybe they're very passionate about their environmental policies. Maybe they have an initiative where they do, each employee gets 5 days to volunteer at any kind of cause they, or nonprofit they care about. People love to know these things about companies because it makes them more appealing, know. And as a consumer, you say, wow, I really want to do business with this company because they have amazing policies about how they want to be environmentally friendly. And even if they aren't there now, they're actually documenting to me their process to get there. And that makes me want to stay invested as a customer with them because I want to be a customer of someone who's environmentally friendly. So I really recommend people think about those different layers and different sides they can show. Of course, tell stories about products and services and the different employees that you have, but really those, when you think about this, when you're at a cocktail party with someone or you're having a drink with a friend, those are the things that you remember about someone. I had no idea about this. That's the one thing somebody tells you about something like that. That's that word of mouth. You want to find those occasions that will, really go beyond having great products and services as well.
And how you think, for example, Coca-Cola, for me, it's about New Year because it's very popular reclam, Coca-Cola and New Year.
Sure.
And in our brands also associate with some kind of holidays or celebration.
Yes.
It's like associate marketing, and it's good for branding, for example, for this event, thinking only for this brand.
Yeah, I mean, Coca-Cola does an amazing job at storytelling, right? They had the whole Share a Coke campaign, and that was a storytelling campaign, right? Who would you share a Coca-Cola with? And imagine the stories that you would have. I share one with my boyfriend, I share one with my mom, my best friend. That, it evokes those moments. But in terms of holidays, you uncovered such a great trend and insight for businesses, because if you do research, there is a weird, wonderful, or real, traditional holiday for actually every day of the year. When I worked for Dunkin' Donuts, there's actually a National Coffee Day and a National Donut Day. So if you are a coffee brand or a donut brand, that is your Christmas, right?
Yes.
But also, there's also a weird occasion called Talk Like a Pirate Day. Where when we were Dunkin' Donuts, we ran a Twitter contest challenging our customers to tweet their Dunkin' Donuts order in pirate speak. So I would like a large coffee, "Arr, I'm a pirate." It's silly, right? But it gives you these opportunities to do storytelling around that. So I think Coca-Cola is super smart to think about what are the relevant occasions for my brand, because it allows them to tell different stories. And for me, when I do storytelling framework with clients, it's you have your macro stories, which layer into your purpose, your why as a company. That's your overarching umbrella. But then those micro stories, or those always on stories, that layer up to your purpose and your why. So when you're thinking about holidays and you think about, okay, which one of those layer up to our purpose, right? So for Dunkin', it's about kind of keeping busy people on the go, going with coffee, with sweet treats with a donut, with a breakfast sandwich. They want to give you that boost, that pick me up throughout the day. So if they're all about keeping people going, then why not have some of those funny and quirky holiday occasions where you give people that virtual boost through social media, right? It's kind of funny. It takes you maybe 30 seconds to write a silly tweet, and then you've probably laughed about it, and it's made your day a bit sillier because you're haha, I did this, and maybe I win a gift card for it. So with each business, there's going to be different occasions, and then you as the creative person behind the brand can start to dream up, is there a story here? Maybe we could do a contest, maybe we could do something fun. Maybe we want to get our employees involved in it as well, and we create some fun content to share people with that. So another example is I worked for a B2B company called Sprinklr. They're an enterprise social media software platform. So they work with a lot of big companies like Coca-Cola to help them scale social media, posting content, doing social listening, reporting. So we actually, for National Dog Day, there's actually a National Dog Day. All of Sprinklr's offices around the world are dog friendly.
Yeah.
So a lot of employees bring their dogs to work. So we actually did a whole storytelling thing on social media about like showing different employees' dogs and their names and like what they like to do when they're at the office. Yeah, but people like animals, like cats and dogs, do really well on social media. So again, like thinking really creatively, like you could tie a holiday occasion back to your business or back to your products and services, or maybe back to an employee who does something really amazing. So yeah.
Okay, nice. Thank you for your devices, and thank you for your interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here. And we have to mention my co-author Ekaterina is Russian, so I'm sorry she wasn't here to do the interview in Russian, but maybe you guys can connect in the future. Yeah.